Sharpen all the edges that I hide, I'm a liar. See my body licking up the flames from the fire. They could never kill me, so they feel me even tighter. What remains of that? 40 in the strength, I'm a fighter. 50 in the faith, take me higher. I'm a rise up on my demons like the tide. Blood moon, yellow in my eyes. Blood moon, white faint, light blue, my stains, night flame. Then we got into realms, yeah. Sun breath hit my wrist, blade fall like the mistake. Cares like a peak, yeah. Malachite, turn a tarnish to a gray side, yeah. Kiss a Dutch, but I miss the way it tastes like, yeah. Through the frenzy and the flame, I keep the honor beside me. This faith will abide me, we're burning the tree. Sharpen all the edges that I hide, I'm a liar. See my body licking up the flames from the fire. They can never kill me, so they feel me even tighter. What remains of that? 40 in the strength, I'm a fighter. 50 in the faith, take me higher. I'm a rise up on my demons like a tide. Blood moon, yellow in my eyes. War horse in the crypt, a nightmare, great sword on my left, new veil in my hand. I'm a rise up on my demons like a tide. Blood moon, yellow in my eyes. Don't wish for walls to talk. They scream until I left the room. Blood writing on the walls tells me I'm born inside a tomb. I don't cower, I just power back. Water breathing got me feeling like I swallowed glass. Form 11, lose the weapon, you don't see it. If you spy it, never try it. They can deflect. Whip what I saw, but I'm grim when I don't see the curse on the corner.
The full squad is back in effect for a very interesting week of WWE programming. Not gonna lie, this is gonna be an interesting one to talk about. But I mean, we had a premiere of SmackDown on a different network, and yeah, we'll get there when we get there. And we had a season premiere of Raw, and that was something.
Oh man, what a week!
It wasn't bad. I want to get that out of the way. But there could have been things that could have been done better. But I will say, we do have 3 matches are made for Bad Blood and maybe a 4th one on SmackDown, but we didn't get the official graphic quite yet, so some shenanigans is about to go down. So I'm interested to talk about that.
So odd. We'll talk SmackDown when we get to SmackDown, but it was an interesting week in WWE land in general. For
sure. Reasons. But hi, all you PC WrestlePod nerds, and welcome to the Dual Dynasty review, your weekly WWE review recap podcast, videocast show. Now streaming on Netflix. Not really, but I wish. Get some distribution rights. Find our way there. We are on the YouTube, the Twitch, any the social medias, anywhere. Like basically, you can follow us.
Are we on the Twitch now too? I feel like I forgot that.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, more people interact with us via YouTube, but hey, you know what? Hey. Twitch is also a fun place if you just want to watch people review wrestling and just stalk us in the chat. That's fantastic. I forgot we're on
Twitch. I need to get cat ear headphones to be on Twitch. I need to do all the cool kill all the cool kid things.
Adolfo's halfway there.
That's right. Adolfo has that mask. That's right.
But I am one of your hosts for Dual Dynasty, Mikey El Jefe around the BC WrestlePod parts. And as I said before, the whole squad is here today. First and foremost, holding it down for Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. And also being here the longest with me is, of course, El Miniford, himself, Mini. So this is interesting. We're also in the middle of football season, so there's a lot going on this week.
There's a lot of emotions in the room.
Yes.
Yes, sir. My team don't play until 1 o'clock, so I'm solid right now. I'm not angry at the moment.
I am in.
On the
I'm
flip
not
side,
angry. I'm feeling it though.
Yeah. On the flip side, we also have rounding out our trio, the Professor. Hello, my friend.
Hello.
So I'm happy to have you here. I am not the football person in this household, but as I have said on numerous occasions here, Mama Laguel is currently watching her team in the other room, and you may or may not be hearing her in over the course of this review. So we'll see what happens.
Oh yeah, I'll have some moments where we'll check in on Mom and see how she's doing. Like, by the way, how's your mom?
Like how she's doing. Oh my gosh.
Oh man,
I love it. Of course, Kilt Man in the chat already starting some mess, but I love you to death.
Let's go.
Of course.
Of course.
Of course it's Kilt.
I love Kilt so much. He's hilarious. But we are here to review this week's WWE product, Monday Night Raw, from Monday, September 19th. And for the new premiere, the season premiere of Raw, and the season premiere on a new network for SmackDown that took place Friday, September 13th, Friday the 13th. It was crazy. Anyways, so it was crazy. So let's just jump into everything. We're going to, like we do here always at Dual Dynasty, we are going to start with Monday Night Raw, make our way over to SmackDown, and then just continue to talk about anything WWE related or professional wrestling or whatever tangents we get on, because we can never stay on topic, and that's what makes the show very, very fun.
No, we can't. We're trying to get better, but it's rare.
Yeah,
even with Nick here last week, it was like we're nowhere near where we should be.
No, we shouldn't. Shout out to the homie Nick for coming in last week, and also I will say this at the very end, but shout out to everyone who tuned into our live watch along for the CMLL show on Friday.
Yeah,
because that was out of control in the best way possible.
Yo, that's wild. I'm super excited, and it's amazing that WWE does not bring the same heat when we do this on the weekends.
For sure.
Fascinating. Interesting.
To be fair, we didn't do a watch along for SummerSlam, but hopefully we'll see what Survivor Series brings us with that. So that should be fun.
That's gonna be something.
So as we do here at Dual Dynasty, we are just going to cover the important bits for both Raw and SmackDown, condensing 5 hours of wrestling, soon to be 4 hours of wrestling come October, thank the Lord. And then, just giving you the important bits, matches, storylines, and, whatever we're building towards the pay-per-view. So let's jump right into Monday Night Raw. This week was the season premiere, if you want to call it that. Again, it just felt, it was a season premiere, and we did have a legend come in because of where we were for Monday Night Raw. But other than that, it was just your regular Monday Night Raw. So let's just jump into the things that were kind of important here on this show. First and foremost, we'll talk about some of the matches that were super important. And we're just going to kick off things with what opened our show for Monday Night Raw this week, which was a street fight with the Wyatt Six versus American Made. This is 4-on-4 action. It's a street fight. I'm going to be honest. My favorite parts of this were Nikki Cross and Ivy Nile just destroying each other. Nikki with the kendo stick, and then Ivy Nile just suplexing Nikki Cross into a pile of chairs, which was real. I love street fights. This is a WWE street fight, so it's not going to get as crazy as some other street fights that we've seen this couple weeks.
But Eric Rowan used the barricade as a weapon.
Barry the Barricade was literally used as a weapon. That man just
he didn't put somebody through it. He kicked it over, picked it up, and ran it through people.
We love it when we love it. We love it so
that's kind of great.
Again, I thought this was a fun street fight. But I also hope that this is it between this feud for Wyatt Six and American Made. I'm like,
Did y'all see Chad Gable suplex the fuck out of himself? Oh wait, Nikki Cross was there too.
Wait, he did what to himself?
So Nikki Cross went to German suplex Chad Gable, and you can see Chad Gable just like do 99% of the work.
Oh, that's fun. I gotta go find that.
Suplex himself.
I did hear, and again, I talk about this here a lot. I try not to go to that wretched hive of scum and villainy that is Reddit for wrestling stuff, but I just so happened to be there. And there was a similar sentiment where folks were sort of like, hey, this was fun. Oh, this was this. We don't need it. And of course, there's the diehards one way or another, but I don't know where we're going. I think it's sort of, we got to do something because we got the Wyatt Six there for sure, but sort of like where are we going? We need another big bad to team them up with, right? We need some antagonist protagonist thing going on here. And we just don't quite have it. I don't know. I'm starting to feel like they missed the boat on Chad Gable, right? Like there should have been something done months and months and months ago when we were at peak Otis feud, and now it's just kind of gone a different direction. I don't mind that he's haunted by the Wyatt Six, but now he's stagnant and he's super talented. And we were talking like get him in the US championship picture at one point. Like we were like, hey, get him involved in some of this stuff. We need a Paul Bear. Exactly, right? We need some sort of something to make this go forward. I don't know.
He's finally in the this is what I was saying when we had our main podcast is I felt like the initial feud for the Wyatt Six was the wrong people. They should not have feuded with Chad Gable and American Made because since Chad started showing the signs of going heel, we're like, put him with American Alpha, put him with these guys, with the Brutus brothers, make this dominant, we're all insane, like Olympic level wrestler bolt like stuff, and like let's all be like we're all mini perk angles and make him in a feud and make him and run rampant. Then do what you want with the Wyatt Six in the background. But then they feuded them together to start with, so it's like, yeah, we got both things that we really wanted. But they shouldn't have started with each other. So now we don't know what to do with those awesome American wrestler dudes and Scary Boys. I'm thinking Scary Boys are going to go after the Judgment Day post Bad Blood.
I think that would be fun as hell, right?
Absolutely. Great. But and then let the Terror Twins do what they're going to do from there. I'm not sure what they're going to do after this, but
and I think we've talked about this here too. Transitional titles are one thing. Transitional feuds are kind of the worst, right? Where it's just, and we'll talk about that when we get to SmackDown. But this sort of, what are we doing? I can't invest in this. You're just hurting each other for a narrative we're not going to use, and that's always hard. The casual fans probably eat that up. The folks who are watching it every week, it's starting to. It can, what's the word? Drain us. Or
it can suck a lot of the fun out of things.
Yeah, sort of like, why would I?
I'm hoping they have something for the. They need to untie the tag team titles off the Judgment Day.
Yeah,
and let the tag titles kind of do its thing.
I don't hate that
because they haven't been. I don't think they've been defended once since the Judgment Day has won them.
No, and that's changing next week because we're getting a first official defense against the New Day between JD and Finn. So I'm like, I love New Day, but they're not winning these titles.
Oh, they could. Damian Priest might cost it for them.
That could be a lot of fun. Give it an extra layer to Bad Blood, which we'll talk about towards the end of this Raw, where we are going to, because we had 3 matches made for Bad Blood on Raw, but we'll get to that when we get there. So, I mean, speaking of untying the tag titles, we then get a women's tag team championship match here between 2/3 of Black Girl Magic, Bianca Belair, and Jade Cargill, defending their newly won titles that they won at Bash in Berlin against the former champs and the #1 contenders from last week, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, the Unholy Union, aka the Hex Girls. Please let this be done. We're done with this feud. This should be it. No more. I don't want to see these two fight again. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's sort of the common consensus. This sort of bled over onto Raw or onto SmackDown. Excuse me. We'll talk about that when we get there. Again, they have a really great women's division, and they're just sort of going all in on the meh booking of those two. I'm not sure what they're trying to shoehorn in there. I'm not sure what they're trying to push. You're right. It's sort of, you got to pivot. You got to do something here. It's not that it's bad. It's still a good product, but we're sort of, hey, you're writing yourself into a corner, which is something we used to say here all the time. Good job, Minnie. Very good.
Yep.
I still think
You're brown.
I was reading something, so I wasn't really paying attention. That is my fault.
Oh, Minnie, you got to watch the product if you're going to review the thing.
Oh, I did watch it. I was reading something.
Well, then say something out loud.
Well, Minnie, tell the professor what you say every week. Me and you have kind of had conversations since we unified our women's team. So how do we feel about this whole entire thing? Like, it's getting weird.
Do better. Put more women on the thing. We're tired of the same fucking people every week. That's what we've been saying.
I love that you went full caveman. Put more women on thing. Good.
Right.
That makes sense.
That's exactly all it is. Like, we have, 3 fucking tag teams?
Yeah.
Make more.
Yeah.
That's like, yes, it's cool seeing Jade Cargill on TV. We've been wanting that since we signed her. But
yeah,
make the tag titles relevant. Put more women. Put more teams together so there's more people for them to run through.
Right.
And make it interesting.
No, I feel you. Yeah. And this kind of bled into SmackDown, which led to one of the meh promos of the evening where it was sort of like, I don't care and you don't even seem interested. Why did you make this a promo? But we'll talk about that when we get there.
Yeah.
Mikey, I think you're muted. I can't hear you.
I swear, technology just has the thing.
I was like, why is it quiet? Mikey, there he is.
We're good. Anyway, so we have 3 more matches that kind of happened this episode. We're going to kind of breeze through a few of them because we had Dominic Mysterio versus Dragon Lee. Poor Dragon Lee continues to lose because of Judgment Day shenanigans. So Dominic does end up getting,
Weird. Dominic won a match.
That's crazy. But Dominic can never win without any shenanigans, whether it's Judgment Day or Liv. And Dragon Lee continues. Remember when Dragon Lee was touted to be the hottest new luchador in WWE?
Oh, that was a big deal, wasn't it? That was a huge deal.
And now, I don't know what we're doing.
Since Rhea called him Batman.
Yeah.
You know who I am? Batman.
It has never been the same. Poor Dragon Lee. I still think he's super talented.
Are they waiting for this Penta rumor to shake out and maybe?
It's not a rumor. They're signed with WWE. Them and Motor City Machine Guns are signed with WWE.
Well, then where are they?
They just signed.
Why didn't you use them on your super special 25-year anniversary of SmackDown?
They signed like 2 days ago.
So here's what I think. I think Motor City Machine Guns, because the rumor is they're going to NXT and they're going to premiere on the CW premiere of NXT, which also, this is WWE related news. It seems that from now onwards, NXT is going back on the road for their shows now.
Really?
So I'm just like, I'm kind of here for this. Also,
right.
I would love for NXT to roll through my town so that way I can go to an NXT show. It's fantastic. That'd be fun. But Dominic wins. Dragon Lee continues to lose.
Yep.
It is what it is. And then, in a not so surprising fashion, we get the Pure Fusion Collective, also known as Team Scissor Kick, taking on the team of Zelina Vega, Lyra Valkyria. And who could their tag team partner be? They're in Canada. It's Natalia. So, I don't know why I thought it was
She got no pop.
Because it was like, we're in Canada. Of course, they're gonna get Natalia. Don't get me wrong, I love Natalia, but I'm like, I would have been more surprised if it went with who I originally thought it should have been Tatum Paxley from NXT, because Lyra is also, back in NXT for a little bit, having these kind of rekindling the friendship with Tatum. So I thought that would have been fun, but no, it was Natalia. The good guys win. I think we'll see if we're done with this, because who knows. Woo.
Yeah. Missed opportunity.
Definitely. Absolutely. But then we get into well, actually, I forgot we had one more match, but I don't really count it as a match because it ended in a DQ. Finn Balor versus Rey Mysterio, and Rey technically wins because Finn wouldn't let go.
Now, okay, yes, it is Judgment Day versus LWO again. You know, the shit that we don't care about, but like, this is the one time we actually do care about it because it's finally been like, hey, Finn, go beat the old Finn Balor again.
Right.
Yeah.
That was the positive of this, is we're getting shades of the Prince, Finn Balor, coming back through, especially with this new Titantron that's like has the F word, and then also like we can fill in the blanks where the other, like what other letters belong where those X will go into. So exactly.
I kind of
20 minutes in, I can say it.
I really want body paint Finn Balor to come back and just wreak havoc.
Give me the demon.
I really, really do. And there's something theatrical that it just lends itself to. We kind of they killed it. Back when Adam Copeland was the Edge, that match killed it, right? Got him in the forehead, all the stitches and other things, and sort of demystified Finn Balor as this demon. Whereas anywhere else in the world, like, they're looking at Finn the demon. You know what I mean? Like, you look at the history of him. I did a deep dive on this. You look at the history of him in Japan doing that and other countries doing that. Back in Ireland where he started doing it. Like, that's terrifying and super cool. And he's not allowed to. They want him in the Judgment Day soap opera so bad. I don't know.
It's I would love. I mean, they still can absolutely bust out Demon Finn, but I think he only wants to bust it out for like super, super special moments. And like where he wins, he has to win. He can't, like, you can't have Demon lose anymore.
Yeah. No, that's
yes. It makes it predictable. Oh, he's busting the Demon out. Guess he's gonna win.
Yes, he's gonna. Well, lately is I guess he's gonna lose or mess it up,
right?
Or have it messed up for him. Yeah, that's tough.
I want Demon Finn versus that Leo Rush evil guy.
Oh.
I don't know what he's called, but he looks cool.
Yeah, when he goes into like when his new Boogeyman alter ego, I need that. I need Boogeyman, Leo Rush, Demon Finn Balor, and also the Aswang TJP from New Japan, like in a triple threat. That'd be fantastic.
And Willow, and like Prime Willow Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
If we were talking Judgment Day Wyatt 6, yeah, that's where the demon needs to be, right? Like that. I would feel like that would make it interesting and sort of like, oh, we can't do this.
No, but hear me out though. I don't think it would fit either because you have the Wyatt 6 spooky guys, Demon, and then you got Carlito and Dominic.
Oh well, yeah. Well, every horror movie needs a first guy, right? Yeah. They die first.
Which one? You got Dominic, Big Head McDonough, and Carlito.
I'm gonna be honest.
All first people material.
Carlito's probably gonna be the one to die in the horror movie first because he's the closest to the token black guy dies first. So,
poor guy,
because he is Afro Latino, so that is like a substitute. And we don't have a dumb blonde. I mean, technically we have Liv, but I don't think she would. She would die like in the middle of the pack.
Man,
She's not.
We just did creative's job. You got to have that feud and then make it a horror movie, and each week one of them disappears in a similar horror fashion. It's perfect. It's a great promo idea. Come on, WWE.
Dominic Mysterio ends up being the final girl.
Oh, it's perfect.
It's Demon Finn Balor. He's the final girl. Just takes everybody out.
Put him in a wig.
That's what it would be.
He already has the long. He has like the long. What is it like the?
That is true.
Yeah. He wears the wig, and from behind we think it's Liv, and actually they sneak up on Finn, and Finn turns around as Demon, and just you see, we wrote the 90-minute special ourselves.
We wrote the horror Christmas special for WWE
from the Netflix makers of Fright Night 1994.
With music by Rob Zombie.
Yeah, exactly. More.
Oh my goodness! Oh, I love it so much.
Hey, is your mom yelling right now?
No, it is very oddly quiet, so I'm gonna have to check in with her.
There's a silent rage in what just happened, so I'm sure you might feel heat coming through the walls. Anyway, continue, Mikey. Continue.
We'll see if I make it to my TNA Victory Road review later. If I make it to it, but Probably what ended up probably being my favorite match was what main evented the show, which was this fatal 4-way to determine who would become the #1 contender for the Intercontinental Championship, which saw Jey Uso, Ilya Dragunov, Pete Dunne, and Braun Strowman battle it out to see who would win. Bronson Reed incapacitates Braun Strowman by putting him through the announcer table. Ilya Dragunov had the match won, but in comes Jey Uso with a super kick and an Uso splash on Pete Dunne for the win. Super kick. And so at some point, it's going to be Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker for this Intercontinental Championship. I'm going to put this out there. I am going to channel Rikishi into this and the rest of the world. I feel that you need to let Jey win this. This man has yet to get a singles championship in his tenure in this company. Even if it's a short title reign, I think Jey finally should get a singles run.
Oh, I agree.
But who knows? I feel like Braun can afford a loss and he can get it back down the line. We don't have to keep it on Jey for a very long time. But give Jey a title run at some point. Like,
Braun's,
come on now.
Yeah, Braun is there for the long game, right? We know that that's that next generational type of talent thing. We know that it's Uso's time. You're right. Never a singles title ever, really? I could have sworn there was something in there. That's wild. Yeah, dude is due for that. And will be hopefully not a transitional champion, which means Braun kind of was. But you can do more with it if it exchanges here, right? You just have more alleyways and avenues if you do it like that. So I did hear this. They referenced it a little bit on SmackDown as well. I had a moment where I felt like Jimmy and Jey could have fixed some of the things that were going on SmackDown, but are doing more interesting things on Raw. So I was kind of torn.
Yeah. Overall, I thought it was a fun match, though. I definitely think this was the right call to make this the main event. And, I think Braun versus Jey is going to be a lot of fun. Minnie, do you have any thoughts about our winner? And, should Jey take the title off of Mr. Braun's Breaker?
I don't feel like he should. I feel like Braun needs to hold on to this for a little bit.
Yeah, but why, though? What means?
He just won the belt.
Yeah, okay.
You're going to turn Braun Breaker, who they push to be this dominant person, into a transitional champion?
Are you gonna let Jey sit there, never having one ever?
I'm not saying he wins it now. He wins it later. Braun has defended the belt once?
I thought it was twice. Wasn't there a second one? I thought there was
the only one that I remember is his rematch.
No,
versus Sammy.
Go, Mikey, go. Go, Mikey, go.
Yeah, so because Braun won it at SummerSlam, and then we got a 2 out of 3 falls rematch a couple weeks ago. And then the last couple weeks we've been having this tournament to crown a new #1 contender.
Right. So he's defended it once because he just won it.
That's fair.
And he was
I'm
pushed.
Interested to see.
The dude killed Ricochet so bad he went to AEW.
That is also very true.
He's been destroying everybody on the roster. He's built to be this dominant Gunther level champion. For him just to lose on his first defense to 19 super kicks and a splash?
Well, as long as it's not 19 super kicks and a splash, I mean, make it a barn burner, right?
Right. So, like, no offense to Jey Uso, I love Jey Uso, yeet. Right. But I don't feel like Jey should not have even won the tournament. I think they should have. Judgment Day should have got involved in that last portion, cost them the match, give it to Ilya or Bronson Reed, and let Braun Breaker just run through him till like Mania, and have Jey win at Mania.
I can go either way. I mean, I again, this is writing yourself into a corner. Both decisions are kind of meh decisions, right? You don't want Braun as a transitional. I get it. But I do feel like having Jey work for us, knowing he's going to get blown through by Braun. Why? To what end? Right? Why did you have this whole thing happen at all? It's
that, or the Judgment Day is going to get involved at their match, so Jey doesn't lose, but he loses.
I don't think they want to have. I mean, they did this Roman. I don't think they want to get into that Goldberg territory. Not that they're anywhere near that right now, where you hit this sort of "they're unstoppable, no one can beat them ever" thing. They've kind of seen the backlash and how that can work against them. Braun might be able to sell it for a while longer, but now they've written themselves into a corner. What do you do?
Well, you got to remember, in a wrestling match, you have a 50-50% chance of winning, but Braun Breaker's a genetic freak.
Sorry, there's a warning siren outside right now.
Braun Breaker's coming to your house.
Yeah, that's Siren Head. Siren Head is walking out in these woods. That's quite literally the Paradise warning siren. That's not the. My son says that's not the sound of Siren Head, so I'm wrong.
As long as it's not Pyramid Head, you're good.
Oh yeah, that's the one that I'm like, no, not that guy.
You don't have to worry about Pyramid Head. He only stays in Silent Hill.
Well, if Pyramid Head comes
Or
for
Dead
you,
by
though,
Daylight.
that's also true. If Pyramid Head comes for you, Professor, we also have a lot of follow-up questions because anyone who knows the lore of Silent Hill and what that represents, I'm like, Professor, we need to get you on a couch. We need to talk about this. But the last two things I want to talk about for Raw before we move on to the Smacketh of Downs is the two big segments that we got. The first one, we had Mr. Bret the Hitman Hart come out on the season premiere. The crowd, of course, loves him. Love seeing Bret Hart back because, you know, it is no secret that he is not the biggest fan of the previous person who ran the ship, but he came out, he did his, you know, Canadian-esque promo for this crowd. They love him. We love Bret. And then Gunther comes out. And speaking of Goldberg territory, Gunther is just so great when he comes to these quips. He's just like, Bret, you are like you are my second favorite wrestler behind my favorite Goldberg. I was like, damn.
It was a good line. It was a very good line.
I was like, damn. And so Bret, what I loved is that Bret's just like, bro, I'm old. I do not care. Gunther, you are a coward for not putting your championship against Sami Zayn, which then prompts Sami to come out as Gunther gets in Bret's face. Sami cuts his I am the underdog promo we've come to see from him, and we have a small little brawl as Gunther tries to exit, and then him and Sami kind of get into a small little scuffle. So we know that Gunther versus Sami is definitely coming down the pipeline. It's just a matter of when. I don't think we're going to have it at Bad Blood. I would be very upset if it ended up at Crown Jewel.
I think you're going to be upset. I think they're going to try and push.
It's probably going to be at Crown Jewel because we're probably going to need Sami for Survivor Series.
But Sammy's not allowed. Wasn't Sami not allowed in Saudi Arabia? Wasn't there a thing where he
no, he just refuses to go.
So here's T though. So because again, I didn't watch it, but of course I still had to cover the results last year for Crown Jewel when we posted everybody who won. Mm-hmm. Sami went to Saudi Arabia last year, and I think they worked something out or whatever or something. I don't flipping know. The point is, Sami did end up going to Saudi because he was with Kevin Owens last year.
I would be terrified the way journalists and people who are critics tend to disappear, and the way Sami has been in the past. That would be mas huevos and hopefully good security, because that's one hell of a situation to be in.
For sure. So it's probably going to happen at Crown Jewel. It makes me super upset, but I don't think it's happening in that Survivor Series because we're probably going to need Sami for Team Roman at Survivor Series.
Seems like it. Maybe.
Who knows? We'll see what happens because
we'll see.
We know the Bloodline's about to have the Survivor Series War Games match. It's just a matter of who is going to make up the full team. So we'll see about that. And then the last promo that I want to talk about here is probably the big one. Drew McIntyre in all of his glory comes out looking like, sir, you are dressed to the tens in leather. Did we have any, like, what is going down? Like, what happened?
He was just in a strap match.
That was very true. So I feel like Drew McIntyre is like exploring himself a little bit, which is kind of fun to watch. But what I was really interested was the fact that Drew McIntyre cuts his promo. He hates Punk. That totally makes sense. But then he got in Wade Barrett's face and called Wade out for getting in his way, you know, for wanting to beat down CM Punk. And I'm just like, I don't know if Wade is cleared yet, but Drew versus Wade would be interesting. And then would it be the first time that we have seen this week that a European wrestler who is supposedly retired come out of retirement for one match, a la Nigel McGuinness is about to fight Bryan Danielson at Grand Slam next week. That's going to be interesting.
Bryan Danielson's not dead.
No.
I heard that news from the other promotion and went, wait, what?
We'll talk AEW afterwards.
I thought Bryan Danielson was dead.
No.
I saw this. I saw the censored clip.
What's up, Ty?
What's up, Ty? Welcome back, bud. New subscriber to the channel, new supporter. Love it.
We'll see where that goes. I'm interested to see it for sure. I think it's a different.
Yes,
I agree.
Kelt.
We got to get away from Punk, right? We're sort of stuck in this now.
I think we will.
I think it's
Also-
only there until
Hey,
Seth Rollins comes back.
Hassan. Nice.
It seems we'll see if we're in a holding pattern for this, but Kilt, to kind of address this leads into what I wanted to say and what happened. The second half of this promo is that Scrap Daddy Adam Pearce comes out and he basically tells Drew that Drew and Punk are not done yet because at Bad Blood, we will be getting Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk in a Hell in a Cell match, which is definitely our blow-off match. So, Kilt, hopefully after this, we are done with Punk and Drew. And we'll talk more about that as we get closer to Bad Blood when we make our predictions, because right now I need to see how the rest of the build to this goes, because it could really be 50-50 here.
Yeah. They got to get out of the corner they wrote themselves in for a few of these folks, right? I think they can. We don't want we have all these transitional things we keep throwing around. I would hate for it to turn into this is a transitional PLA, because that's not fun for anybody. But
It's not. It doesn't seem too transitional considering we're getting what we're going to talk about on SmackDown.
Yeah, but okay, yeah, that's fair.
So it doesn't seem that way, but it also kind of seems that way, but it also kind of doesn't. Speaking of SmackDown,
Good.
You're muted. You're muted again.
You're muted again, Mikey. It would have been beautiful.
Dang it.
Minnie sent it right to you, and you had no chance.
I missed it. I caused strike one, but I hit it out for like a one base run. But
Ave Maria.
I'm pretty sure this Hell in the Cell match will be our main event. It kind of has to be if it's Hell in the Cell. But the other two matches that Raw made for Bad Blood, as we saw throughout the rest of the show, Damian Priest and Finn Balor will be going up against each other, which I'm actually really excited for that match. I think a one-on-one between those is going to be fantastic. And then we also get Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Heavyweight Championship. I don't think so. Shenanigans is going to go down, but I don't think it's going to be Judgment Day who helps Liv retain. And just a bold prediction out there, I think we get the return of someone from the women's roster who we've been missing for a little bit and has history with both Liv and Rhea. I think this is where we get the return of Miss Raquel Rodriguez.
Really?
Because she was tag team partners with Liv, and Rhea was kind of the one who took Raquel out and put her on the show in kayfabe.
What was her? It wasn't surgery. She was injured someplace, right? I can't quite remember.
She's been dealing with her illness.
Medical condition, yeah.
Oh, she's okay. Oh, that's right. She did a whole post about that. That's right. I saw that over the summer. Yeah.
So
Raw, it'd be great to see her back. Yeah.
For reals. Raw this week gave us 3 matches for Bad Blood, and then SmackDown gave us 1. So now would be the perfect opportunity to move to the season premiere and new network of SmackDown. And before we talk about the show itself, let's talk about our new logo for SmackDown. Which I was like, okay,
I mean, change is hard. Change is hard. I like the pivot. I thought it was fun. We'll talk about the nitpicky things. The one thing that stood out to me the most for this SmackDown was they went and were taking risks with camera angles and like cameraman in the ring. Some of the shots, I mean, these were tiny movies. Everyone's holding position for the camera to get the shot, and they're almost hitting marks the way film actors would. There's some wild choices they're making there. We're gonna talk about the cage match. There's a shot of Cody going and jumping off the middle rope, and that cameraman was right on top of it. Like there was these little finesse things that the camera folks were doing. I don't know if it's a totally different crew or totally different take or producer or whatever, but there was some interesting and more vibrant camera choices. We've been talking about this since Triple H showed up, right? The big one shots and sort of the slow pans and big things like that.
Because it's not really jump cut.
Yeah, it's not that Michael Bay cut thing. Yeah. This was genuinely like, oh, let's do film narratives in a wrestling thing. The shot of well, I'm kind of ruining it. I'm ahead of the horse, but I was wanting to talk about this. The shot of Cody jumping off the top of the cage. The slow pan of him walking up the thing, like all these little things, like, damn, they got some cinema nerds in there. That's interesting to see.
Well, I mean, you mentioned the steel cage match, so that's what opened our SmackDown this week. Is we had for the undisputed WWE Championship, Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa in this steel cage match. I was very surprised that Cody beat Solo clean,
right?
If anything.
Sure.
Which I was just like, okay, so now I think this is the final statement. No more Solo versus Cody for a little bit. Like, I think we're done.
And then it wasn't.
Because as soon as this match was over, I mean, it was a fun steel cage match. I knew what we were going to expect. This was the smartest way to open up the show.
Sure.
And, you know, we would bookend the SmackDown this week with starting with Bloodline shenanigans, ending with Bloodline shenanigans, and then have everything else in between. Because this was a very, once again, a Bloodline heavy, like centric episode. But I feel like one of the good things this week is they did a better job progressing other things outside of that, kind of. But after the match, Cody's in the ring. The Bloodlines surround the ring. I'm like, y'all could just enter through the front door, like barricade yourself in. Why are we climbing over things? Like, what is happening?
It's way cooler to climb over things.
That is very fair. So Cody is getting beat up inside of the cage from Solo, and then, you know, the Gorillas of Destiny. Jacob Fatu looks like he is about to like pull an Adam Copeland 2.0, jumping off the top of the steel cage down, which I feel like Jacob would actually not break anything on the way down. So, because he's done crazy spots like that on the independent scene. So, like, this is the Samoan Werewolf. Like,
well, he just rocked his ankle doing one crazy spot a month ago. So
and
it's probably like,
thank goodness nothing else crazy happened.
He did, but he showed up the next week and super kicked Roman Reigns with the boot.
With the boot.
Well, speaking of Roman Reigns, as Cody is getting surrounded, we have the one true tribal chief, the OTC, come out. Roman Reigns then just takes out the rest of the bloodline from the outside. He takes care of Solo, gets in the ring, and then him and Cody have a stare down. And I was just like, oh boy, here we go.
I was kind of hoping for a hint at the Usos showing up here. If it was just
Jimmy,
not,
at least,
or at least, yeah, just there was like, oh yeah, there's a Roman, and then he's not alone. So that was just sort of me being a nerd, like it's happening, but that's fine.
I like the crossroads into the spear.
Oh yeah, no,
that was cool.
There was something really cool about the tension that they have with each other, right? Because there's this history that they destroyed each other for 2 years. Like there was this running thing for a long, long time. There was the notorious Paul Heyman talking about his fathers and talking about I wish my son was Roman stuff and the crying promo. Like we have a history between these two that we'll never get rid of. That being said, and this is nitpicky, folks are going to disagree. I think this was a chance to kind of really lay it on in a big way. It didn't fall flat for me. I'm still very, very, very interested. I wanted a little bit more spectacle, and I don't know what that would have been. It could have been, and Kiltman in the chat, it could have been weak for the story. It could have been, you kind of want to see them build that narrative, not just appear. I get it. I don't know what could have been missing or what more we could have gotten.
So,
I don't know.
Jimmy appearing would have been fun. I still think we have wiggle room to wait, but I'm hoping that we don't wait too long for Jimmy to return, because once we're done with Bad Blood, then all that's left is Crown Jewel, and then we are into Survivor Series.
I'm going to drop this prediction right now for Bad Blood. I don't think I'm going to go back a little bit. I don't think it's Raquel Rodriguez that comes back for the title match. I think it's Charlotte Flair. I think that Jimmy comes back during the
main event of
Roman
Bad Blood.
match.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I love the Roman Fatu stare down. I think that's fantastic. I love the storytelling of that. Like we're building up, someday Fatu is going to challenge for it, which is like, oh my God, how did we get here in this amount of time?
Well, did you see who just signed a Legends contract?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Umaga's original manager.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
He just signed a Legends contract. So Jacob Fatu being managed by him. Sounds pretty good.
That sounds cool. I'm looking at Kilt Man in the chat. Bad Blood, New Bloodline, Jimmy Roman, and maybe Jacob. I mean, how wild could that be?
So we know for a fact that Hikuleo has signed with WWE, and we are waiting for him to come on out. So we know as of right now, Team Solo is probably going to be Solo, the Gorillas of Destiny, Hikuleo, and then maybe Jacob. We shall see what happens with that. But then the problem we run is Jacob could be our wild card, because then on the flip side, you have Roman, Jimmy, Jay, probably Sami Zayn, because he has a long history with them. And then if it is a 5-on-5, we might get someone new. I have seen people say that Cody Rhodes would be the 5th member, which I'm just like, okay. I'm not necessarily mad at that, but we shall see. But yeah, honestly, I think Jacob is the wild card here, and he can go either way depending on how we build the rest of this. Yeah. Which we'll get into what happened at the end of the show at the very end, because I want to get everything else out of the way, because SmackDown also has some non-bloodlines to kind of stuff. We had a short match where Michin took on Piper Niven. It was quick, like less than 5 minutes, and I was like,
why?
No.
Why?
This hurt me so much. I don't know if it's because they lost time and got squeezed by what happened before them. I don't know. If Michin was looking for something under the ring and it wasn't there, and she spent so long looking for it, and then just got a kendo stick, hit Chelsea once and went back in the ring. They were really hesitant at the top. This was so rushed. I felt awkward and bad for them because it felt like something had happened. They were not there. And we know they can go. And we know they're great. And on paper, it's like, oh, yeah, give me that. I'm excited. They were all over the place.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate.
We know anything? Do we know time cut? Do we know? It was like, what in the hell?
I haven't been able to find anything, but Michin does pick up the victory. Chelsea and Piper do attack afterwards, so this might not be another feud, which, hey, if we get more Chelsea, Piper, Michin on screen, that's totally cool.
I'm cool with it, but
let's not give them just 5 minutes.
Yeah, this was rough. I don't know. I hope we're not back in the era of we're cutting matches because of the Bloodlines entrance. I really hope we're not back in that late 2022, early 2023 plays. I don't think we are. I don't think we'd go back that road again. That was unfortunate because we know they're great.
It definitely was. And so after we get some reappearances of folks, including a wild Rob Van Dam in the audience.
Yep.
And his girlfriend.
Don't talk about the other person. Fuck her.
Yeah. Anyways, we get to A-Town Down Under in the.
Do you not know the whole thing with her?
Which one?
RVD's girlfriend.
No. The other person they showed.
Which one are we talking about? Are we talking? There's
Vicky.
A couple. Yeah, Vicky.
Yeah.
Do you know? She came out and fully supported her daughter's abuser.
It was wild.
What?
It was wild. Yeah. We will talk afterwards. It was a whole thing. This happened last year, I think. So it's still kind of fresh, something like that. It was really weird. And it kind of it kind of soured the taste on people of her and the legacy of her and everything.
Really?
And Chavo had to get involved at some capacity. It was really weird.
I have no idea this plot line. Tell me off time.
We will definitely will. So back to the Smack of the Downs. We have A-Town Down Under out next. They are waiting in the ring. Kevin Owens comes. Well, first.
Man, justice for Ricky, the local man. That was fantastic.
The funny thing is crazy. He's a tag
Ricky-
champion.
He's a what?
He's a tag champion. The dude's a champion. He's one of the. I looked it up. He's a tag team wrestler. I don't remember the tag team name, but they're champions, I believe.
On the independents.
Amazing. What a cool spot for him, though.
This is how you make your 5 minutes of WWE screen time work, because Ricky was so over with the crowd. It was ridiculous.
They were cheering for him. They made a joke about, remember when guys used to shave? Like, because he's a big, hairy guy.
They
I thought
did
that was great.
I saw a post bit afterwards of Randy and KO talking to him. They invited him over to Randy's bus. He was like, dude, you're the only person that stepped up and came in to help him. He goes, yeah, but did you have to stun me? He goes, that's my bad. I got excited when I heard Randy was here, so I did it. I'm sorry. And it was like, hey, Randy, is your bus here? He's like, yeah, my bus is here. He goes, hey, can I invite him to the bus? He goes, well, RVD's in the bus right now. So you know what they were alluding to, what they were doing.
Oh, no.
It was funny. It was really funny.
Oh my gosh, but shout out to Ricky. Like, you have become immortalized in this season premiere, which I love it.
Funny as hell.
And I mean, let's be honest.
The two biggest names in WWE, Ricky and that one dude that sold the Crossroads.
Yeah. So fantastic. So, I mean, let's be honest. Were we surprised that Randy would be a KO's partner? No, not really. But this led into our tag team match, KO and Randall Keith Orton versus A-Town Down Under, which we saw Randy and KO win. I love that they got both Waller and Theory onto the ropes for the double, like, from the middle rope down. I forgot.
Oh, yeah. That was great.
Fantastic.
Austin Theory selling that RKO from Kevin Owens was ridiculous.
Theory sells so good. I love his selling.
Boom. Just, oh my gosh. This was fun. This was, action figures and mayhem, right? Like, yes. This was a great momentum booster for the night. I really liked this. I forgot I was watching a Smackdown, if that makes sense. This felt more important than steel cage match. Of course, I know I'm watching something different, but for some reason that didn't feel like a PLE or something like an event. And I don't know why this one did to me, but spectacle wise, it was like, oh, this is fun. This is great. And I think part of it too is Randy, like we talked last week, he's just having fun and laughing and messing with the fans and doing the wave with them in Berlin, like just enjoying it. And for some reason, this was so much fun. I like this one a lot.
Oh yeah, I definitely like this one too. Still don't know if we're truly ready to have A-Town Down Under split, but we shall see what happens with all that.
At this point,
they will.
Give me face Austin Theory.
We just need we got to get a good reason, right? And I wouldn't be surprised if it ties into the other match we're going to talk about, which is going to be LA Knight versus the number one contender. I wonder if they're waiting till after that to pull the trigger on this to keep it in that sort of mid-card title place. That's my hunch, but I can go either way.
That is very, very fair.
I love seeing LA Knight with the title on. It makes me feel so complete on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
It does too. It's about time we get this man a title. And I'm excited that we get to see him do more stuff with it. So that's very, very exciting. But before we talk about who ends up being our number one contender, next up we have, let's talk about that match. And then now, you know what? We'll talk about this because this was also a chunky bit of the episode. We have this in-ring segment with Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, Bayley, and Naomi. So the Cliff Notes version of it is Nia Jax is in this ring. She cuts Bayley's in the ring. She cuts a promo with, she and Nia go back and forth.
Yeah.
Tiffany comes out, without thinking, says that if it hadn't been for Nia, she would have beat Bayley. So she alluded to the fact that it's Nia's fault she lost last week, which is kind of the truth. So then Nia says that her and Tiffany can beat up Bayley because right now it's 2-on-1. And then Naomi comes out to even the odds a little bit. We set up a tag team match with some very interesting stipulations. So if Tiffany and Nia win, well, first let's start with Team Bailey and Naomi. If Bailey and Naomi win this tag team match next week, whoever gets the pinfall victory will then get a title shot against Nia Jax for the WWE Women's Championship. However, on the flip side, if Tiffany and Nia win, whoever got pinned, either it being Bailey or Naomi, will have to leave SmackDown forever, which means they're either going to go to Raw or we might see them go over and hang out in NXT, which honestly, either one of them in NXT would be fantastic, especially because I want to see Julia fight Bailey or Naomi at this point now that she's debuted. But this was a weird segment. This is some weird stipulations, and it kind of makes me sad that we could lose Bailey. We're probably going to lose Naomi on SmackDown. I'm like, we just got her. We just got her here. What is happening?
No, I don't want to. I've said this in the past. Bailey has gotten better on the mic, but still has a really hard time, and she kind of has to feed off who she's giving the promo with, depending on who she's in there. Nia Jax, I'm gonna say this, still not great on the mic. Really struggling. Really having a hard time. I know her character is this.
Fully support this. This.
You fully support this? Where I'm going?
Yep.
This prissy sort of "I'm better than y'all, I'm going to destroy you" thing. It's just coming off disingenuous, and she's cardboard. No one's coaching her up. No one's helping her. They're just letting her drown on the mic, which is rough. Because then you get Tiffany and Naomi who grab the mic and are immaculate. They're truthful. They're fun to watch. The crowd's behind them. So you get Nia Jax and Bailey who are struggling on the mic. Let me be honest. And not really feeding this. And it's sort of exposition and kind of where are we going? What are we doing? What are we doing? I thought the stipulation that Nia Jax threw out there for this is kind of arbitrary and didn't feel like we needed it or what mattered. The moment she went, let's make it interesting, chose the most uninteresting thing that she could have. It wasn't like you're gone forever or you have to retire or you don't get this or you have to that. It was, you have to not be here ever again. Okay, you get to go over to Raw. So Netflix wins. Like there's nothing. So that's tough. And I don't want to dwell on Nia Jax. The internet already is. She's come a long way. She's working on what she's working on. Fine. This did not land the way they wanted it to and kind of downshifted the rest of the show, in my opinion.
The idea is cool. Tag match. If you get pinned, something happens. Or if you pin somebody, something happens. So there's still like, I'm surprised they haven't done this before. Like, yes, you guys are a team, but it also depends on who wins the match.
Sure.
That's cool. The stipulations behind it kind of done a little better.
It's a little uneven.
The idea as a whole, though, is pretty cool to me.
I can't. I mean, kind of. I wish what was at stake. I wish something was interesting at stake, right?
Well,
right. Number one contendership makes sense. Cool. It should have been like if you get pinned, you can never challenge for this belt again.
Something like that would have made it.
Yeah, because I feel that it's a little uneven for both teams, like wins, like gains and losses, so you speak. Because if we look at Nia and Tiffany, if they win, they make somebody on the opposing team leave, which is cool. But if they lose, nothing really happens with Tiffany because she still has her Money in the Bank briefcase, but it's all on Nia. If they lose, Nia's the one in jeopardy. So I feel like they should have been like, hey, if your team loses, Nia, you have to defend your title, and Tiffany, you can't cash in your thing for like 2 months or something like that. Like put the red tape on it or something.
Sure. You have to wait till blank.
Or if Tiffany gets pinned, she has to leave SmackDown.
Yeah, which would be interesting.
Or do something different with the Money in the Bank case. Be like, you can't. You have to give it to someone else. Or now you can't
cash it in for the rest of this year or something like that.
Yeah, something that affects a greater narrative as opposed
to you have to cash it in on Liv Morgan.
Ooh, that's right.
Only one person you can cash it in.
You have to cash it in on the other brand's women's champion, which is nice and all that. But
You have to cash it in on the mid-card belt we're eventually going to get.
Which is what I'm hearing, that potentially once we get past Bad Blood, we're building towards a tournament, and supposedly we're going to have a finals for this new mid-card title at Crown Jewel. So I'm just like, of course, the interesting match happens at Crown Jewel, but whatever. It's neither here nor there. But we're going to move on from this. The last thing we're going to talk about before we revisit the bloodline is we had Carmelo Hayes and Andrade in their 5th match. They are tied 2-2. Again, this was a banger. These two put on phenomenal matches. I was just like, yes, give me more. They delivered, and Andrade ends up coming out on top and, getting 3-2. And it seems that we are done with the best of 5 series because Andrade ultimately comes out with the win, which then prompts LA Knight to come out, cut this really fun promo, and telling Andrade that he gets a United States Championship match. So it's going to be LA Knight versus Andrade for the United States Championship. So, yeah.
Not going to lie, I would love to see Andrade and Carmelo team up, be a tag team.
It's so good. I would love that too.
You can call them the best of 5.
They got to do it. They got to do it every Friday for the next X amount of years, man. Even after, bring this feud up every now and then, and all of a sudden they got to go best of 5, and it's just a month of Andrade Carmelo Hayes matches. I think this might be the top 2 of all 5. Those first 2 we talked about, they were sort of feeling each other out and trying new things, and that was fine. But 3, 4, and 5 of these were all like, oh, they've been putting in the work, and they know each other really well by now. I thought Andrade got rocked on his head when they both got on the barricade and went straight down. There's a little bit of a hiccup there moment where I was like, ooh, that was his face.
Oh, with the Spanish fly?
Yeah, like that. They didn't get a lot of height on that one. So that was one moment that took me out of it a little bit just for the safety of them. But otherwise, that was a fun match. Yeah, that was fun.
It definitely was. And I'm excited for Andrade versus LA Knight for this championship. This is going to be a good one. All right. So now we've got through the rest of SmackDown. We talked about everything. So now we're going to bookend what started the show with what ended the show. So we're going to talk about more Bloodline stuff. So throughout the show,
put up your ones.
Yeah, put up your ones. We're going to talk about what happened. So throughout the whole entire show, outside of everything we just talked about for the last 25, 30 minutes, everyone who was involved in the fight at the beginning of the show has been sequestered. Solo Sikoa has told Nick Aldis that he has an offer for Roman and Cody that they cannot refuse. We come to find out it is
but Cody did refuse
match.
But then he...
Yeah, and halfway through the show, Nick Aldis gets Cody Rhodes behind the stage to sign his contract, and Cody's like, I'm done with the bloodline. I ain't doing this no more. I was like, drama. I was like, ooh, this is interesting. And of course, we know, spoiler alert, Cody is still involved in bloodline business shenanigans or whatever, which we'll talk about right now. But we end the show. Roman Reigns comes out. This is where Nick Aldis is one of my favorite people on the planet, because as Nick is beginning to start talking, Roman Reigns does the thing where he holds out his hand for the mic. Nick Aldis just looks at him like, what the F are you doing? Hands him the contract first. Roman's like, really, bitch? And then Nick hands him the microphone. I'm like, I love that Nick Aldis does not give a fuck. He's like, this is my show. What are you talking about? So that part got me. I laughed at that, which then led into Roman Reigns cutting a Roman Reigns promo. Bloodline come out, surround the ring. Cody evens the odds. Both Roman and Cody signed this contract. So while we did not get
anime fashion ever.
Yes, I'm just like, this is Goku and Vegeta vibes with Roman and Cody. I need Cody to come out with Dragon Ball Z inspired coat for Bad Blood, and Roman Reigns just come out as the Saiyan Prince and everything of Vegeta. I would love this forever. They should get tips from the New Day on how to do that, because New Day is also nerds too.
So
it sets up.
No, go ahead.
So the last thing I'll say, and we'll discuss, is it sets up Solo and probably Jacob Fatu versus Roman and Cody at Bad Blood. So this should be interesting. Discuss.
I thought this was fine. I got the tinglies and I got excited near the tail end of this. I'm still got to remember the buildup of the slow walk Roman to the ring thing. and then slow walk of Cody to the ring thing. So I get it because it's live and it doesn't always translate. Okay, I got to get over that. Undertaker used to do the same thing. Fine, I'll get over it. Roman's got to get used to getting on the mic again because Roman didn't have the same fervor that he's had in the past and kind of rushed it a little bit because he was obviously excited. This is his first big promo since he's returned, right? He's sort of been
it's the first
silent.
time he's talked since he's came back.
Yeah. So I kind of like where we're going. I do love the tension and sort of we have a history, we hate each other feel that Cody and Roman have. I think it fits. I think it works. I think it's funny that Cody was so quick to just go, I'm not doing this. I'm done with the bloodline. And literally 20 minutes later goes, all right, I'm in. Like it doesn't really track.
They try to pull me back every time I try to pull myself out. That you pull me back in.
Pull me back in.
Like what in the mob? What in the mob movie is this, man? What the?
So
hell?
I get it. I think they could have done something to leverage this a little better. I get the creative. I get where we're going. Fine. I actually, and before I say this, let me say this. I do think they could be a great tag team with each other because they are both really talented in that way. And I'm not saying Roman's limited. I don't want to go down that path because there's folks here at Iconics who are going to jump all over that because some of them agree and some of them don't. And some of them go, he's got 5 moves. That's fine. I won't say their names, but I know they're watching because they texted me. But I will say that as a tag match telling stories, the two of them together, that's going to be a blast. Like they know how to do that. I don't anticipate it. I feel like it's going to be really one-sided because you have the athleticism of the Gorillas of Destiny. You have Fatu, who's just a beast. You have Solo, who's sort of been muted and kind of nerfed the last month or so. Even on the mic, like we've seen a weaker and weaker Solo every week. And not to go full theater narrative, but it's sort of Solo as can't take the weight of being the chief and keeping his tribe together and all that. So I get it, but it's coming off as little kid Solo. And that was always tough for him in these promos. I think there's a risk here that it doesn't work. I think there's a risk here that you don't get the band back together quick enough. Because now you got Bad Blood, you got Survivor Series, you got to make something big happen quick. And with a short time and a narrative and a thing, unless you're just adding more family members, which I don't know. Where's the story going to go? I'm still intrigued. I'm not saying I don't like it, but there's a part of me that goes, we're going to get stuck in Sami Zayn land, right? Where we sort of don't know where to go. We didn't pull the trigger fast enough. And when we did, it blossomed, but where are we going?
Sir.
So
Go, Mini, go. Go, Mini, go.
So I don't know what's going to happen with this. I do agree that Solo seemed like he's kind of being pushed to the background, which is weird because he's supposed to be the tribal chief, but he's like, nah, man, fuck you.
Right.
Jacob Fatu's just better. Jacob Fatu should be the tribal chief for the new tribe. Roman Reigns is the original tribal chief. We all know that. But I don't know how, because people are also saying The Rock's going to get involved. Where's he come in?
Yeah, but why? You don't need to get The Rock involved.
Because they want to do Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania.
You don't
But
need
you
to.
have like the Rumble and like you have those months leading into
right,
WrestleMania.
but do we do Bloodline versus Bloodline for that fucking long?
I
mean,
don't think
they
so.
did do New Day versus Karrion Kross for like 19,000 years, and we stopped giving a fuck about that.
That's true. But that's the problem. Like they could run into the ground where we don't care anymore.
So I don't know what they're gonna do. Am I excited for this? Yes, because it's cool to see Roman. I'm just more excited to see Roman and Cody team up because I think that's gonna be. It's like, oh, dope. This is like when Goku and Vegeta fought fucking Frieza.
Yeah.
Or when Frieza and Goku fought Jiren. So it's gonna be dope. But I'm also concerned about like who the hell is gonna team up with. Is it gonna be Jacob Fatu? Or is he randomly pulling in one of the Gorillas of Destiny? I don't know. I'm hoping it's Jacob Fatu because I want to see him get speared and see if that finally takes him down. Because the dude just never goes down. He no-sells everything, and it's awesome.
It really is. It definitely is because we know Solo's going to go against Roman and Cody. So and to use Dragon Ball terms, since we're still on this, Solo needs to be very careful because he needs to. His two choices right now between who he has in the bloodline is either you pick a Krillin, who is very reliable, fantastic, or he ends up with a Yamcha on his team and is going to lose. Like, that's how it is.
Or he goes with the bomb and he has fucking Jiren on his team.
That is also very true. That is very, very true. We're nerds here. So for anyone who's like, what are you talking about? Just look up Dragon Ball Z and you'll know who we're talking about. But that brings us to the end of this week's Dual Dynasty review. So we have done a good job of covering WWE within an hour. So we covered 5 hours of wrestling into one. So that's fantastic. I'm going to go really quickly. I'm going to give this week's WWE programming a 7 out of 10. I thought it was pretty decent. The season premiere of Raw was pretty good. There was some stuff I wish they did better, but I am excited. And SmackDown was fun, but hopefully I do appreciate the fact that we did progress some other stuff, but the execution of said things may have not necessarily the best, but I give 7 out of 10 for this week's WWE programming. Yes, Kiltman. Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Wow, we are also all full of ADHD.
That is also very true. Professor, what do you give SmackDown this week? Since
sorry, I think SmackDown should have been way up there for the spectacle and what they had. It certainly started out at that 9-10 place, and then the little things got chipped away. I don't like that the women keep getting hosed. I think that's awful. I wish they were set up better to do better promos and stipulations. We didn't talk about this. Even the sort of pre-tape stuff backstage kind of fell flat and could have been done way better. So that bothers me a little bit that we're not supporting them and leaning on them more like we could. I thought the matches were really solid. There was a few of them that that had some hesitations here and there at the top. One, obviously, because you're in a steel cage. And then, Carmelo and Andrade bring it every time. Yeah, this is in 7.5 at the most, 7 land for me. I wanted a little bit more spectacle here and there. I do like Roman Reigns. Now that I've said that, I want to see more out of him. And that's sort of been my critique with Roman Reigns for a while. But when he got bogged down in the bloodline stuff, I think Cody's evolving and changing. I want to see what Roman can bring now that he's had a little bit of time away, has a little bit more history to him and that stuff. I don't think we're back in the strange days of the bloodline, late 2002, early 2003. I think we've moved on from that, and I would hate for them to go back to that. I think we're in, it's a 7.5 place for me.
Cool. And finally, Minnie, what do you give this week's WWE programming?
In total, like a 7.
Sure.
Felt like Raw was a little disappointing. And I felt like SmackDown got really disappointing in the middle. The one thing I'm glad to see, no new Day Carrying Cross shit. That was fantastic.
Thank God we're done with that.
One thing I was not happy to see was Nia Jax on the microphone. So, everybody knows that's the one thing that me and the Lucha Dork agree on is we don't like listening to her on the mic. It's the only thing we really agree on.
And they're not helping her out. They're not supporting her. They're not giving her anything to work with. They're just letting her go out there and drown.
She's just like, you're big and strong. Use that set of your words. And she uses her words and goes, I'm the best big person ever. And they're like, stop.
That's what it is. That's the whole promo.
That's
I'm the bestest ever.
But
Thank
like,
you.
there's some
I will
truth to
kick
that.
your behind, you little hiney, because
I will destroy you.
My whole
destroy you.
Oh my
we
gosh.
just turned Nia Jax into Elmo.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
That Minnie Mouse voice.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh my goodness.
Disney, stay away from us.
Yeah, so before the mouse comes after us and shuts down our channel, that is going to be the end of this week's Dual Dynasty review. Before we do the sign-offs, because this is the first show of the week, yes, I count Sunday as the beginning of the week, not the end of it, but I do have to get through a couple of announcements for sure. first and foremost, we got one more thing happening later this evening, and that is our review of TNA's Victory Road. Myself, Will, and a special third co-host are going to be reviewing the most recent TNA pay-per-view that occurred on Friday the 13th. As now we are done with Victory Road, and all signs point to our final thing, which is the next Big Four pay-per-view, which is Bound for Glory in 6 weeks. Super excited to review that later tonight. And then, of course, this is what you can expect from us this whole entire week. So I made sure it was a little bit bigger for this, but a little bit of a lighter week, not as crazy as this past week. But this upcoming Tuesday, we have our All Elite Ensemble review, where we cover the very interesting AEW television programming block that we received this week as we are getting ready for Grand Slam, which is their big TV special next week. On Wednesday, myself, Will, and El Buntador II will be reviewing the CMLL 91st Aniversario show, which was, if you joined the watch along, you know how crazy that got with all of us. On Friday, we have our Ring of Honor and TNA reviews respectively. And then closing out, the programming for this week, we have our Dual Dynasty review in the morning. And then in the evening, we are back with episode 7 of the BC WrestlePod podcast, where our topic this month is the worst promos ever. We each are going to select a bad promo. We're going to talk about it, and we're also just going to have a blast. We might even listen to some of these because they are fantastic, because they are hilariously bad, and I'd love to see it. So that should be fun.
Are we doing bad? We're doing bad promos today or next week?
Next Sunday.
Ooh, okay. I might have to make next Sunday work then, because that sounds like a blast.
I am so excited. I already have a couple in mind. I just got to narrow it down. And of course, Andrew in our group chat has already claimed the Steiner Math promo.
Yep, Steiner Math has been
that
called.
is so upsetting because I'm the one that actually cut the promo.
Someone's gotta get Shockmaster.
Yes, that was the
There's
one
some
that was
classic-
mentioned too.
There's some classic, like, oh, these are terrible.
I'm going to
promos.
spoil mine. I'm going to say anything that Nia Jax has said ever.
It's between two, and one of them is the Suffering Succotash Roman Reigns promo that we got a couple of years
That's
ago.
rough. Yeah,
But-
there was a
Vince McMahon versus God.
Oh my god.
That
Wasn't-
promo.
Wasn't there a really bad? Oh, I'm sorry. We should save this for the podcast, but it's a good teaser. There's some really bad Attitude Era ones that you can dig up that
Yeah.
have not aged well, if you know what I mean.
I'm looking at you, Triple H, and you people promo.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that one or
Against
the
Booker T.
where they had a specific type of adult model do a specific thing during a taping of a Raw where there's some stuff in there. Yeah.
It's going to be out of control, but I'm super excited. And that's next Sunday. So if you want to join us for that podcast episode, you can hear our takes. It's going to be a good time for sure. But that is going to be it for us here at Dual Dynasty. From myself, the Professor, Minnie, and the rest of the BC WrestlePod family, actually, because it's no longer just us boys. It's us boys and HR Alice.
That's right. She's HR.
She's our unofficial HR. I love it. It's fantastic. But from all of us here, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay iconic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. You can catch some of us later in a couple of hours for the TNA Victory Road review. But until then, remember, sayonara, adios, and Minnie, tell the good folks, why do we review wrestling around here? Yes, we will catch you later. Ta-ta for now.